This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
Abe and his team, they have been helping folks, going on decades now, Abe. How long, when was it that you first, and I remember you tell this story about your little office and all the papers that were stacked up. You didn't even have an assistant when you first started.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
I've been in this business now for almost 23 years, but founded Abich Financial December of 2008. So yeah, we're going on 17th year here at Abich Financial. But 17 years.
You yourself, over 2 decades, have been helping folks figure out the retirement puzzle, figuring out the game that is our finances. It's very complicated for so many people, but a local independent fiduciary, Abe and his team at Abich Financial, they're here to help you as well. If you are ready to begin the conversation, if you have the questions that so many of us have, just visit us anytime, theretirementkey.com. We are here to help. We're also commiserating together when it comes to Washington football this season so far. I don't keep up with NFL football, but commiseration is a game that I know well, being a Hokie. The season start that was. I know. It looks like we're turning it around a little bit. The win over NC State was an exciting one for us. So Hokies and Commander fans, we can come together and wrap our arms around each other this season. Abe, obviously, you've been a Commander. Have you been a Commanders fan your whole life? You've been following Washington?
So yeah, I've been really a Redskins fan. You know, they just changed the name recently, but that's who they are to me. Because like ever since I knew what a football was, it was burgundy and gold for me. Yeah. And my entire life, diehard fan. Same with my mom, my brother, family so many of our friends. We bleed burgundy and gold. So we've got our faith and trust in this current team. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. In the meantime, then, you listening to us on the radio, Commanders fans, Washington football fans, you know the name, Robert Griffin III, a.k.a. RG3. I was taken aback a little bit when I was reading this year. It was in 2012. I thought it was more recent than that. RG3 in 2012, he signed a rookie contract with Washington. Well, I'm not sure, was that his rookie contract? He ended up quarterbacking for Washington. Okay, so rookie contract, $21 million. However, Robert Griffin III, he was telling the Mighty podcast that it was his first real money moment and lesson in life. Here's RG3.
So when I was signed in the NFL, signing bonus was $14 million. So I signed it. They tell me, hey, it's going to get paid out over 6 months or whatever. So then when I get the full signing bonus, I only got, and I say only respectfully, $6.9 million. So less than 50%. I called my agent immediately. I'm distraught. And I'm like, oh my God, they took all the money out. Where is the $14 million? And he's like, Rob, it's taxes. You didn't tell me that they were going to take half of the signing bonus.
It's a reality that many of us have felt. The shock that is how much, particularly when it comes to bonuses and things like that, the tax rate on that kind of money, Abe. But for retirees, you have also spoken with people in the office that have been caught off guard because they weren't working with you, Abe. They hadn't been given the information about how taxes work when you're in a moment where you're counting your Social Security check, your 401k withdrawal, a withdrawal from your investment account, how that can add up and turn around and bite you in the butt when it comes to the tax man. So have you had this? I'm sure, I know that you have. Somebody new comes to you looking for a review because they were just so surprised by a tax bill. How do you help folks figure this out and also avoid the surprises and do better with taxes?
It happens all the time, Heather, and one thing affects the other, right? Like when you start Social Security, it causes more tax. When you start RMDs at 73 and beyond, causes more tax. When you take distributions from your 401ks, IRAs, annuities, even brokerage accounts, tax. Now, could be different tax rates than, brokerage account than a 401k, TSP, or IRA, but still, everything is being taxed typically when it comes out, except for things like a Roth IRA. And then for a lot of our clients, and I would say most people retiring, if they're working with an advisor or not, they're realizing that they might have gotten to their number, right? It might be 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. Yeah. But man, a lot of this is pre-taxed. I socked it away. Yeah. I was disciplined. I was prudent. I was consistent with saving and saving more and saving more. And it compounded and it grew. And the markets went up and I got the matches from my employer and I hit this number. But most of this number hasn't been taxed yet. And now I've got a pension and Social Security and I've got pretty good income and my RMDs are just going to shoot my tax bracket up.
Yep.
And for a lot of our clients, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in forced required minimum distribution income. It's not the worst problem to have in the world to have really high, good cash flow.
But
however,
frustrating nonetheless.
Frustrating when some people don't need it, some people don't want it, and when it's going to shoot people's tax brackets and rates up more than likely.
Yeah.
Even if the tax code and brackets never change, just to say they were permanent, if someone's bringing in $150K to $200K in their late 60s, then they get to 73 and beyond and they have several $1 million saved. That is going to create another 50K, 100K, 150, 200K a year in additional income, which is more than likely going to put them in a higher tax bracket, which is more than likely going to mean more tax coming out of all of that income.
Yeah.
Classic example. We just helped a couple here in Loudoun County, $6 million saved, phenomenal job of socking it away, not overspending, focusing on that retirement date, late 60s, just recently retired, more money than they'll ever go through over their lifetime. So they'll be able to do whatever they want because they only need like $150K a year and their Social Security checks cover like close to $100,000 a year of that 150. So they really only need like $50K a year from the portfolio. A $6 million portfolio could easily create several $100,000 a year of income, at 3 or 4%. So they have more than enough money than they'll ever go through. They can pass money on. Legacy is important. But they're realizing one of the biggest problems and challenges that they'll have and risks to their wealth is probable higher taxes. Yeah. 5.5 of that $6 million they've accumulated is pre-taxed. Only $500,000, somewhere between $500,000 to $600,000 is not pre-taxed. They've realized the massive problem that can create the monstrous RMDs that have to come out in just 5 years or less. So them being in their late 60s, forced to take distributions out in about 5 years. We have about a 5-year window here where their income is never going to be any lower. It's only going to get higher to really aggressively pursue tax planning strategies and trying to get as much dollars over across that threshold from their pre-tax accounts into Roth IRAs. So for the next 5 years, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pursue Roth conversions. We agreed on what an amount is going to look like for them. They've got some cash to pay the tax bill. And we're certainly not going to get $5.5 million across the threshold over the next 5 years. You can't convert $1 million a year. Well, you can, but that would be foolish because then you just automatically put yourself in the highest tax bracket.
Of problems.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Don't try this on your own, people. Get someone to run the numbers. Get a tax professional. Get a certified retirement planner, fiduciary to help you run the numbers and just make sure you're making the right decisions. It's nothing to play around with. You want to get these numbers double checked for you. So we ran tax mapping reports and analysis for this couple, put together a comprehensive plan with the tax planning being way up at the top for them. And that's what they discovered. They discovered, how they can kind of tackle this problem. And they ended up working with us and coming on board. So for those of you listening right now, if you're in your late 50s, 60s, early 70s, you've got a lot of money saved, you want to protect it. You want to preserve it. You already have the amount of money saved, right? Just like most of our clients. But you want to protect it and preserve it from the main risks that can mess up a great savings plan. Pick up the phone right now. We want to help you. We want the opportunity to help you, just like we did this couple in Loudoun County with their comprehensive retirement plan and tax planning. We want to offer you, the next 5 callers and others, the same complimentary tax mapping report and analysis that we offered to this couple here in Loudoun County that helped them out so much.
So besides tax help, so many people come to you because as they get closer to retirement, they know they need to be responsible, reduce their risk. But it's a little bit hard for us to do. The market's been on such a great tear, and the FOMO is so real for so many of us. Let's talk the MAG7, because for the last few years, this so-called Magnificent Seven, the tech stocks, they have driven so much of the market's growth, Abe. But recently, however, results have started to be mixed, and investment manager Jeffrey Goonlock was telling CNBC he isn't surprised about that, even despite AI's growth. Here's what he said.
It's very real. It's happening. It's going to be world changing, but the markets are incredibly efficient at pricing things in and often overdo it. Momentum driving things to very high valuations. If there's one thing that makes me not sleep at night is owning stuff like that. And that's just me. For some people, they'll make a fortune on it, but I think the fortunes have largely been made.
That's interesting. Do you agree? Have the fortunes been made?
Well, there's been a lot of fortunes that have been made, but if you think about those companies, the MAG7, the Microsofts, Amazons, Apples, even the NVIDIAs and Palantirs of the world, the Facebooks, these companies are the companies that are changing the world, especially the companies investing in artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to imagine that, all of that profit and money making is over. I don't think that at all. Okay. I think these are the companies that are continuing to lead the way. However, we really want to be careful with the exposure that we have in just a few of these companies. And if they make for the lion's share of our portfolio and life savings, we really need to pay attention to that. Yeah. And we just helped a couple here in the area with $8 million. So they have $8 million saved. Wow. They're a 6 risk on our scale. So that classic 60-40. Okay. Again, phenomenal job of socking it away. Diligent, prudent, disciplined, committed to retiring with dignity and confidence with saving that amount of money. Mm-hmm. But, and they knew this before they came in, we found out that somewhere between 35 to 40% of the $8 million is in 2 stocks. Yikes. So approaching 50% now of this couple's entire life savings is in 2 companies. Which is amazing, but also for risk levels in retirement, it's a lot. It's through the roof. Yeah. Now, these companies are big companies that have done well, but that is a ton of excess exposure and concentration in just 1 or 2 companies. And man, you can remember back to 2008 and the early 2000s when people were invested in Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and just companies that were also huge and very popular and doing really well. And sometimes companies go under. Even if they don't go under, ton of concentration, way too much exposure in our opinions in just 2 companies. So we put together a plan to help them reduce risk. Okay. Put together a detailed, comprehensive plan that not just addressed that investment risk and exposure, but also addressed taxes, healthcare, their RMDs, which are right around the corner, and an estate plan. Yeah. That was all discovered through a portfolio X-ray and analysis. So if you're listening right now, you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. We want to offer you the same portfolio X-ray and analysis that really helped this couple to discover and learn what they own, the pros and cons of it, side by side, how we help them put together our plan. So if you're one of the many who plans to work just a few more years before you retire, you need to know about this statistic. A survey by Transamerica found 60% of us actually don't make it to the date that we plan to retire. And that's mostly because of a loss of employment or a health issue, not just with ourselves, but with a spouse or with a parent that causes us to retire sooner than we thought. The other statistic that makes me sad, Abe, only 20% of this survey respondents said that they retired because they had their finances in place. So only 20% of people are empowered to retire on their terms. While you may not feel the urgency to sit down and plan out all the details because, again, you're thinking, I've got a few more years, this serves as a motivator, a good reason to go ahead and get started, does it not? Absolutely. And especially the closer and closer you are to retirement, you just never know what's going to happen. That's right. So your future is not going to plan itself. You got to take action. You got to be proactive. You've worked so hard the last 30 to 40 years to get to retirement. Your money needs to work harder. You need to have a plan for your money, a financial and retirement plan, and it needs a strategy. You need a new plan for a lot of people to transition from what we call phase 1 into phase 2. That's right. 60% of people stop working earlier than they had planned. Oftentimes health conditions pop up. Sometimes there are government layoffs. Sometimes there are people that just get laid off, right? That's right. And then what happens is our clients are in their early to mid 60s planning on working a few more years and they can't pick up another job. They can't get another job because employers will hire someone that's half the age, right? For half the salary, Yeah, and so they're kind of almost forced into retirement. Now, on the other hand, we have many, many clients that are retiring on their terms, as that's what you want to see. Mm-hmm. The key to that, though, Heather, is you can't control what you can't control. So control what you can. That is a financial plan, taking action, being proactive. And so we have so many clients that were affected this year and people we spoke to by the government, buyout packages that have happened. Yeah. And one couple in particular from Fairfax, Virginia, with $3 million saved, got the buyout option earlier this year. The husband took it. But fortunately, we had started putting together their plan 2 to 3 years back. So it's like, hey, I got the email. Abe, hey, I just want to let you know I got the offer. I'm going to take it because I was planning on retiring at the end of December anyways.
Yeah.
And if I can get paid through the end of September, why not? Okay, yeah. I'll check out 2 or 3 months earlier than planned, but I'm getting paid for 6 months to essentially not do any work. So unless I'm missing something, Abe, it sounds like I'm going to take it. And he sure did. But the financial and retirement plan was already in place.
Yeah.
So although this was like, hey, this is like the perfect way for me to exit my career, the plan was already in place, right? So it wasn't this huge deal for them. It didn't cause a lot of stress. The financial retirement plan was already in place. The husband took the buyout. It was easy to transition. Those are the benefits of proactive, advanced financial and retirement planning in advance. They're huge in our opinions.
Yeah.
Added peace of mind, added clarity, added confidence is all the things you need and more as you're making that transition in retirement, because your income is going to stop. That's daunting. Your paycheck is going to stop. Paychecks need to start from your life savings. That's a brand new thing for most people. That was discovered for this couple in Fairfax, Virginia through our comprehensive retirement income plan, which addresses pensions, Social Security, 401ks, taxes, healthcare, all these things. If you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, we want to offer you the same comprehensive retirement income plan that helped this couple in Fairfax, Virginia over the last few years to retire successfully into what we call phase 2. Pick up the phone right now. We want to offer that to you complimentary.
571-570-3559. Give us a call right now for your comprehensive retirement income plan complimentary. 571-570-3559. That's 571-570-3559. Abe, there's this article online talking about how a Roth IRA is the MVP of retirement savings. And I know that you think very highly of Roths and the benefits that they serve in our retirement plans. So coming up in this first 15 minutes of our conversation, I want to ask you about how we can make a Roth an MVP within our own plan. But first, let's talk about market volatility, because we're in a better space than we were this past spring, thankfully. However, it was a little bit of a wake-up call to folks, particularly the folks that you work with that are in retirement, Abe, or close to retirement. There is a video online of a financial advisor from Charles Schwab where he was giving his 3 tips about retiring in volatile market and how to manage that space. And his advice included 1, don't sell in a down market. 2, cut back on your spending. And 3, consider a part-time job. And these last 2 points, I think, don't sit well for somebody who is close to or in retirement. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this list.
Sure, yeah. Let's talk about each of these 3. This sounds like advice, in my opinion, coming from a phase 1, what we call a phase 1 accumulation-based advisor. Don't sell in a down market. Well, duh. I mean, we do not want to sell. Ideally, when the markets are falling, that's the worst time to sell. But that tells me that maybe this advisor, and I know many other advisors and many other firms out there, in fact, the majority of the industry are stock market based, meaning, the majority of the investments that are put together in a portfolio for our client are stock market based, stocks and bonds predominantly, maybe some mutual funds, the ETFs and things like that. Very little protection, very little safety, put into the nest egg. Again, because the focus with over 90% of the industry is accumulation and investments, rate of return, all those things. That's not wrong. That's not bad. But as we near the point of retirement and we figure out that we've saved enough to retire successfully, and then we're entering into this new phase of life and retirement, phase 2, we call it, the plan should start to shift and change. Wages are ending. We're going to start needing income, start wanting income from our last 30 to 40 years of work. So don't sell in a down market, of course. That would be, foolish. However, lots of people, Heather, are forced to sell in a down market if they need or want money from the nest egg, if they have no protected funds, right? If there's nothing protected in the portfolio, no safe money that they can get to without incurring sequence risk, that's really what that is, selling in a down market and withdrawing out while the markets are falling, terrible, then some people have no other alternative because they don't have a plan for phase two. Cut back on your spending. Well, who wants to do that? Who wants to live a retirement dictated by what the markets are going to do?
Right.
And oftentimes you'll hear advisors say, well, if the markets aren't doing great one year, just spend less that year.
Right.
Just don't take that trip that year. Are you kidding me? You are going to make your plans for the year and book your trips or not book your trips based on what the stock market's doing? That does not sound like a retirement that Abish Financial clients live. I'll tell you what, it's not. That is not a retirement that Abish Financial clients live.
Okay.
That is a retirement that some retirees live, but shouldn't be. It's a retirement that some retirees live because they have very little protection wrapped into their portfolio.
Okay.
Right? They're all in the markets. Consider a part-time job. Again, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to have to go back to work?
This is where this guy lost most of us in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want an advisor telling you, well, Heather, if your guys' portfolio kind of stinks one year and the markets are down 15 to 20%, you can always go back to work. I mean, I can't imagine the eye rolls that would come back at me if I said that as part of an advice we're giving. That is not part of what a retirement should look like.
Right.
Now, if you want to continue working part-time, you want to continue working full-time, sure, go ahead.
Because you want to. There's a difference between a want to do it versus a have to do it.
Man. So having a plan, a proactive plan put together in advance of the ups and downs. We talk about this every single weekend. So crucial. That way you're living retirement and life on your own terms, not based on what the stock markets are doing.
Right.
We just helped a couple in Alexandria, Virginia, about $2 million saved. They came to us for a lot of these reasons that we just kind of talked about. Federal government employees, each husband and wife has a big federal FERS pension. Each of them had TSPs. 100% of the money that they had saved pretty much was in the TSPs. Pros and cons there. Obviously, they got the $2 million, so a nice amount saved. But that money in the TSP is unmanaged, obviously. There's no advisor that's managing it. It's unmanaged. Typically people buy and hold in the TSP and kind of just hope things work out. And if you buy and hold for a long enough time, things can work out. The markets do work out long term. But what about in the middle, right? What about in between? What about in these years and periods of years where we have volatility? So unmanaged life savings, not a lot of control around that. Fewer options inside the thrift savings plan as compared to maybe what might be available on a Charles Schwab or Fidelity platform. No management and no distribution strategy. Here they were retiring soon. No distribution strategy, no plan to transition into retirement. $2 million bucket of money, the pensions, Social Security, nearly all of it invested in stocks. So they came to us for a complimentary second opinion. And the plan was to reduce risk. They wanted to be closer to a 5 on our scale of 1 to 10, closer to a 50-50 split between growth and income. They were nearly 100-0, or almost all stocks, full pedal to the metal. That's what got them into the $2 million. And again, as we talk about, you're transitioning into retirement. The wages are ending. If you want to invest like a 30 to 40-year-old, you better be prepared for the volatility that's going to come with investing as a 30 to a 40-year-old. And that doesn't make a lot of sense for most people heading into retirement if you've won the game and have enough money saved to retire with dignity and confidence. We reduced risk down close to a 5, so they had a combination, Heather, of both growth and income, not just solely growth. This plan allowed them to live comfortably, to travel, to spend money in up markets and down markets. I mean, this couple is traveling to Ghana, Italy, Greece, and one other country this year. 4 trips.
Wow.
Yeah, we had volatility a couple months ago. Yes, the markets are back now. This is what the markets do every single year, right? They go up, they go down, and they are not living their retirement based on what the markets are doing. They're living their retirement because they have a proactive plan put together in advance of all these things that the markets give and take away. If you're listening right now, you're not 100% confident in the retirement plan, the portfolio you've put together right now to help you transition into full retirement. You need that confidence. You deserve that confidence. We want to help give you that confidence by giving you a complimentary second opinion. A portfolio x-ray and analysis is what helped this couple in Alexandria to learn what they have, how to generate income, how to protect their life savings, how to spend it and preserve it all at the same time, So their retirement is not dictated by the markets. If you're 55 years old and older, you save $500,000 or more for your retirement. Pick up the phone right now. For the next 5 callers and others, we want to offer you the same portfolio X-ray and analysis complimentary.
All right, Abe, besides market risk and how we want it to not affect our retirement, another thing that we talk about all the time is taxes and how they could or could not affect our retirement with proper planning in place. So there was an article on bankrate.com talking about the Roth IRA, and they were calling it the MVP of retirement savings. The article goes on to talk about how the after-tax contributions and the tax-free withdrawals are what work to help us in our retirement. However, the Roth does have limitations, as this article pointed out. The amount you can contribute declines and is eventually eliminated at a certain level of income, and the money has to sit for 5 years before you can access it. So, Abe, as a financial advisor, how do you help people work around limitations to make a Roth work, be that MVP type player in our retirement plan?
Yeah, Heather. And when I first got into this industry and business, 23 years ago, I was told by my mentor, Abe, the Roth IRA is God's gift to financial planning. Yeah. Why would that be? Because it can be one of the most tax advantaged accounts someone can have in retirement. All the money you've socked away plus growth, tax-free, can be distributed tax-free, can pass on to your loved ones tax-free. And there's nothing better than tax-free,
right?
And not paying taxes on those dollars and gains. And, I think a lot of retiring successfully is knowing the rules to the game, right? And there's a lot of confusion, misunderstanding about Roth IRA contributions. As an example, a lot of people don't know that the Roth is available inside the TSP and 401ks, and there are no income restrictions on how much you can contribute to a Roth TSP or Roth 401k. You could be making $1 million a year and still contribute to the Roth portion of your employer plan. You could not contribute to a Roth IRA, but you could convert money into a Roth IRA from a traditional IRA. You need to know the rules to the game. There are always opportunities. There are always workarounds and strategies that may or may not be right for you. And so you need to know the rules of the game. Half of that, is just coming in and getting educated on all the options available to you. We just helped a couple in Frederick, Maryland. They have about $1.5 million saved. All the dollars are pre-taxed, making too much money to contribute to Roth IRAs, not making too much money to contribute to Roth 401ks.
Okay.
So part of their tax planning with us is to continue contributing to Roth 401ks and doing Roth conversions from their traditional IRAs into Roths. Next year, their income is going to lower. One of the spouse's income is going to go away. Their income is going to lower by about $100,000 to $150,000. Well, bingo, huge opportunity for tax planning.
Okay.
And we're going to convert that same amount of income that's going away into a Roth. In other words, we're going to convert about $100,000 to $150,000 a year the next 4, 5, 6 years into Roth IRAs, since their income has basically been cut in half. The other spouse is going to continue working, and one spouse is going to retire. If you're listening right now and you say, you know what, Abe, we've saved several $1 million, $500,000, $5 million, $10 million, whatever it is, everyone has a tax problem, a tax challenge. And that is, in the United States of America, for most retirees, a lot of retirees, taxes will go up on you, probably. And even if they never went up, if you've got a big bucket of money saved and you've got substantial RMDs coming down the pike in your 70s, your income will increase, which will more than likely increase your tax rates. If you're not confident in having a tax planning strategy to lower and mitigate taxes as much as possible on your life savings, pick up the phone right now. If you're 55 and older, you have $500,000 or more saved for your retirement. We want to offer you the same tax mapping report and analysis that we offer to this couple in Frederick, Maryland.
Abe, we talk all the time about inviting folks to come into the office to have a full review, a second opinion done on their savings. When somebody comes into the office at Abish Financial for that first meeting, what does that conversation, that initial first meeting typically look like? How does that go? What can somebody expect?
Right. Yeah. So the first meeting is going to be with someone on our client relations team. It might be 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it's really helping that prospective client understand exactly what it is they need to get to us. That's going to be their statements, all of their information, to be able to put together a complimentary second opinion on their retirement.
Okay.
Making sure that prospective client is serious enough to get us the information, because we can't waste our time and we don't want to waste someone else's time.
Right.
So that first phone call is a pretty brief phone call.
So that first initial meeting is a phone conversation. Okay.
It is with a non-advisor, just to help make sure the prospective client understands the process, gets them to our secure portal to upload that secure information and so forth.
Okay.
Then once they get us that information, we put together the complimentary plan for them. Then they come in and meet with either myself or someone on our advisory team for the complimentary second opinion. We call it a Where Do I Stand plan, the retirement roadmap. They're getting it all from us for free, complimentary, with no pressure. It's education based. Hey, here's where you are, Heather. Here's the pros and cons of what you and your husband have done, side by side, how Abish Financial can help you. So you can clearly see the differences. And we educate you on what you have and what you could be implementing with us and how they differ. What are all the pros and cons? What are the conflicts of interest? And then usually by the end of the second meeting, you're able to decide and clearly see the differences between where they stand today and where they could be with us. It's pretty easy. I mean, we're talking about your life savings. So to be able to get all that information in the course of about 2 meetings, maybe 2 to 3 hours of your time total, is absolutely worth it.
And while you're at it, if you're on a mission to find a financial advisor and you're wondering where to start, planner Michael Kitces was telling Yahoo Finance that for most people, it begins with an online search.
The number one Google search for financial advisors is financial advisor near me, which to me basically says, so advisors are so hard to differentiate from. I just picked the one that's geographically convenient to my home or office. And so from the consumer end, I empathize a lot with consumers. They think really struggle to figure out how to tell us apart. How do you tell which one's good? How do you tell which one's knowledgeable? Because we don't really articulate our specializations very well.
Abe, in your opinion, what should somebody be looking for when it comes to finding the right fit within an advisor?
Yeah, good question, Heather. And Michael Kitces is a very well-respected financial professional in our industry, and he's right, because it is very hard to tell, like, who should I go to? I mean, there's a financial advisor on every block. So first off, we call ourselves retirement planners because, as you know, and I think our audience knows, for the most part, we only work with people 55 years old and older. In fact, most of our clientele and client base is in their 60s and 70s. That means they're at the point of retirement. They're just about to retire, maybe late 50s, heading into 60s. A few years left, sometimes months or less to retire. And so that's a specialty. It's our understanding that over 90% of the industry helps people to accumulate and save and invest and grow and to get to the top of what we call their retirement mountain. And less than 10% of the industry, in our understanding, helps people descend down your own retirement mountain safely into retirement. That's a specialty. I think you want to work with a firm that's not humongous and not tiny, like one advisor, one person, or not hundreds and hundreds of people, right? Where you're just a number or millions of, one of a million clients. We're a boutique firm. We've got about close to 30 people on the team, about 1,200 clients. Our clients get the love and care and the attention that they need and deserve, that they may not get from a one or two person firm who can't give them that attention because they're too busy, or a humongous firm where you're just lost as a number.
Okay.
We just helped a lady here in Ashburn, Virginia, where we're headquartered, over $4 million saved, has been with her advisor for over 30 years.
Wow.
Without getting a complimentary second opinion, getting everything checked. She started asking a lot of questions. She's in her 70s about RMDs, distributions, healthcare, tax planning. You see, when you have $4+ million, you want to learn about how to protect it from all the risks that can mess it up. And her advisor was basically giving her generic answers. And she said, you know what, there's got to be a better way. I'm going to start researching. And she found us out there, came in and became a client, put together a phase 2 plan, addressed all of her concerns. We'll be meeting with her 4 times a year versus once a year with the other advisor. She had a virtual relationship. The advisor wasn't even in the area.
Jeez.
Finding a financial professional locally, I think there's a lot of value to that as well. If you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. We want to offer you the same retirement income plan and roadmap.
571-570-3559. Give us a call right now to plan a time for your retirement income plan and roadmap, complimentary. That's 571-570-3559.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com. And join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.